Sherpa. I'm going to guide you through this beautiful horse painting called Spirit. It is for beginning artists. It is for artists that have no idea what they're doing, and it's even for artists that have been painting a little while, but they want to have some free expressive fun. I'm going to get you through this the same way I would get you up a mountain, step by step. I'm going to explain the brushes. I'm going to explain the paint. I'm going to explain how to open your heart and access your art. We're going to talk about all the fabulous mental and spiritual benefits that we're going to get from this painting. And at the end, we're going to have something gorgeous like this. I want you to get your paints. And I want you to come right back and sit down and do this with me at this easel. Come on, let's do it. We gotta get painting. So I've got my 16 by 20 blank canvas. It's all ready to go. I've got my assortment of brushes. I'm going to be using my 22 Filbert. This is by Creative Mark. It's one of their Ebony Splendors. I love this brush. I have got my 1/2-inch angle brushes from my economically priced acrylic brushes. I have a nice economically 3/4 inch square. And then I have a detail brush, and this detail brush is a number 4. You could do a number 5, you could do a number 6. I'm working with a number 4 because it has a little better flick back today. Now, the background we're going to do is going to have a really blended, soft background. And a wonderful artist, mentioned to me that they were not enjoying the blending process, that it was full of brush strokes. And I think that I have the solution for that. The first thing I want you guys to think about when you're trying to create a very soft blended background in acrylic paints is the stiffness and coarseness of the bristles. If your brush is very coarse like this one, it's going to leave more brush strokes in the paint. So that's why I've got this nice soft, my daughter has decorated this with her rainbow loom, this nice soft brush, and it's going to give me softer blending. My other trick is that I'll be moving fairly quickly. I like to say that there's no speed element of art. In this particular case though, there's a little bit of a speed element in that you don't want the paint to be dry. That way you can do very soft blending. And we're just going to keep talking about this through this whole background. So the background of our fabulous free-spirited horse is going to be a little bit. We're going to come over to the palette cam here. Hi, palette cam. We're going to come over to the palette cam. I'm going to get a little bit of my raw red, burnt sienna here. Why is the sienna burnt? I don't know why the sienna was burnt, but it's burnt. Actually, it's what they've deepened it. I've got yellow ochre, I've got cadmium red, I have Mars black, and I have titanium white, and that's all the colors that I'm going to need for this painting. So I'm going to get a little of my burnt sienna out, grab a scotch, just a scotch, treat it like it's chili pepper, a black paint, and even chocolate that up a little bit more, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to go over to my white. Okay, I'm going to go over to my white, I'm going to get a little white, come up to my canvas here, and I'm going to start painting. Now, immediately, I am making sure that my brush is covering all the white of the canvas. Notice something else. I am holding my brush like this. My fingers are touching the metal. I've got it comfortably like a pencil. I don't have it back here. I have it right here. And that gives me a lot more control. Kids, here's another trick. Kids, you have a robot pincher. Your robot pincher needs to hold the brush. Pinch. Works for grown-ups too. All right, so I'm going to get some more of this. This time it's going to have a little more red in it. And I'm going to go like this. And this is coming along up here. All right. Oh, I lost my loom. So I'm trying to make sure that as I'm painting the new paint into the old paint, right, that it's very, very blended. Now that's just this corner here. I'm going to rinse my brush out well. Rinse, rinse, rinse. Rinse, rinse, rinse. I'm going to get my paper towel. Make sure I don't have too much excess water going on. And I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to come over to my yellow ochre, Pull my little yellow ochre out. Sometimes it's called yellow oxide. I'm going to add a little black to it. It's graying it up. And I'm going to get this. I'm going to lighten it with my white. Lighten it with my white. I'm going to come right here. And I'm going to go right into that wet paint. And I'm going to blend these edges. And what's going to help me blend this background is brush pressure. My brush pressure is very, very light. It's, if you imagine that you have a sunburn, your canvas has a sunburn, and it's just had a bad day at the beach, that's about the right amount of pressure to be working into it. And I make sure that it's wet. I'm going to get some more. I'm going to grab some white. I'm also making sure I have enough water in my paint. Making sure I've got enough water in my paint. And I'm going to grab a little more black. This is going to be a little more gray as I'm going. It's a soft, dovey gray. There we go. So now the whole rest of this first arc of canvas, I've got on these warmer tones. But now I'm going to have it all the rest into this dovey, dovey gray that's got a little bit of yellow. Now, yes, you can paint around the edges of your canvas. What I'm going to say is, though, if you're trying to blend, if you're trying to blend, wait, paint at the end. Because unless you have flow paints or some type of slowing agent, it's going to dry on you. What if you have a lot of heat going on in your house? Your paint's going to dry faster. If you have a lot of wind blowing on your canvas, your paint's going to dry faster. So watch for those things that could be affecting how quickly your paint is drying. And notice that I will take my brush stroke multi-directionally back up into the wet paint before it. I get paint as often as I need to. A little more black, scotches of black. And I'm coming along where this brown edge is, and I've made it before it's dried. And I'm blending these edges soft, soft, soft. I'm going to come here. If you're good at makeup, what this is this is a very soft blend. This is how you blend right along your crease line, along your brow line. If you're one of my little brushes, my new painters, and you're not doing makeup yet, just imagine that you're just dusting a little fairy. You're just dusting a little pixie dust on a fairy, and that's about the tension or pressure that you'd want. All right, make sure on the blending part you get a little bit more water than you might normally do, so that you're getting a good blend. And here we go, just blending along, just blending along. I want to make sure that my canvas is getting covered, that all the white is disappearing. Do you see this? Do you see how this is very soft? You know, you can get this look with oils for sure, but you can get this look with acrylics. The acrylics are now designed to do all these kinds of looks. So you might as well enjoy the acrylics. You can do it here too. In fact, if you get good at doing this wet on wet technique, you can do a lot of those acrylic tutorials that you see. You just get a flow paint and a flow agent. You can ask your art supply store what those are, and you just follow along with those instructions with your acrylic paints, and you won't have any problems at all. It totally works. I've done it, I'm sure. I don't know why I'm whispering. Anyone could see this. I'm getting a little more black. I'm pulling out some more white. And I'm moving along, and I'm just making sure that these white peek-throughs on the canvas are disappearing. So it is the softness of my brush, right? It is enough moisture on my brush. My paint isn't dry. I'm not dry brushing in any way. It's how often I'm going back and getting paint, and then I'm blending the new paint into the previous paint. It's wet. That's what I'm doing. And you can do that. This painting is really easy to do. It's a lot of fun if you're a fairly accomplished artist. It's just a lot of fun because you can put a lot of expression into it. If you're a brand new artist, it's a really friendly painting to do. You know, I want you to, you know, if you like this, make sure that you tell me what you think. Tell me what you'd like to see next. Go down in the comments, you know, click subscribe. If you want to see how other people are doing, you know, go on our Pinterest board. We post our fabulous artists that are showing me what they're doing on our Facebook page. We post those up there. I have permission today to, during the video, show you some of the work, this whole of some of our students. We're going to show you the work of Claire and her daughter Maddie and Claire's mother. It's 3 generations of women all painting together. It was a really fantastic day. And I picked them because this painting is really for me today about gratitude. And I think that that's the treasure box, the studio treasure box that we're going to be reaching into, is our gratitude box. What are we grateful about? Valentine's Day just ended, and that can be such a hard time for people. I really saw a lot of stuff happening on Facebook where people were really pouring out their hearts and they were maybe having a little trouble appreciate what's going on in their lives. And what I'm going to say is the quickest way to feel better is to get grateful. That is one of the things that I get out of my studio time, is gratitude to just have this time to be creative. I love it. And so I'm going to show you Claire's stuff. She is one of the founders of the Grateful Chicks. You can find them. I'm going to include a link to their store. They have an Etsy store. They're amazing. Their whole store is about gratitude. It's about appreciation and gratitude and being in the moment and being spiritual. It's a fantastic place. They have great products. They have these beads, and you know, you can make them and touch them, and when you do, then you're thinking about the things that you're grateful for. They are definitely my example of fantastic mom entrepreneurs that use their creativity and their self-expression to find a new business for themselves. And that is really why, you know, I think it's great that you're here painting. So we've got this. I want you to look at this. See how soft and blended this is? I'm grateful that it's soft and blended. And I want you to take a minute and think about the things that you're grateful about. I'm going to give you an encouraging photo right now while I am doing the hair drying of Claire and her family and their painting. I want you to notice that little Maddie, who is 10 in this picture, I believe, has added some feathers and some flowers. She just instinctively made it her own. And that's a powerful thing to give a child early on, is the ability to visualize, the ability to create, the ability to imagine a future that's not there yet. Maddie has it in spades, and her mom has developed it in spades. Her mom, who came with her, didn't know she had it, but she did have it. So I'm going to clap for them. I hope you love their artwork. I'm going to dry this. Now, if you're working with kids, the hair dryer is a fantastic tool, because that's one of the things they don't really love to do, is wait for the canvas to dry. And if you have furry children, they may want your attention, so not spending forever waiting for it to dry is very good. Or if you're just the person that's holding your whole group of friends together as their caregiver, again, your time might be limited. And I really want you to respect and enjoy your time in the studio and be grateful for it, because it's the kind of time that changes your outlook on the whole week. If you give yourself the ability to recognize your essential need to be a creative soul, even if, you know, you don't necessarily know right now where these creative skills are going to play in, I promise you, being imaginative will affect any aspect of your life. You really know when you're talking to an imaginative person, because they have innovative ideas about just the most mundane things. Like all those moms that are blogging about gluten-free foods. That's really innovative, the kind of creative little bakery things that they're coming up with. Yay them. You know, that's the kind of thing where imagining and having that inner eye, it's really valuable. Now, the horse. The horse is so easy to put in. I'm going to have a little drawing camera here. I'm going to sketch it with my friendly kid chalk. Very inexpensive kid chalk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you know what we do? We scavenge around the house and look for stuff because you know your little guys will take it. I've got my 3 little guys take everything I have. I have to fight for this piece of chalk. They have 150 pieces of chalk and I'm fighting for this 1 piece of chalk. That's just what life is like, right? So we've got the painting here. You can see the horse right here that we're going to be doing. I always put these up so you can visualize it. One thing that we can do is we can look at this point here is, we're going to measure, is 7 inches from the bottom of the canvas, so about 7 inches up. I'm going to make a little mark with my chalk, okay? And then 6 inches over on the top is where this line is going to come down, so I'm going to make a little mark with my chalk. And his nose starts at about 1 inch in. Make another little mark with my chalk. So I know where that is. Now you can use a ruler to create this straight line. I'm going to freehand it in because I'm really familiar with drawing little horsey noses. So this nose bone that goes up on the horses, how straight it is, if it's bowed out or if it's dished in, tells you the breed of the horse. So I say this especially to my little girls or my little girls at heart. If you just adore Arabian horses, you got to dish the nose in. If you like quarter horses, it's going to be straight or a little bit bowed out. I'm going to draw here how we're going to put this horse in for you in my little thing. So we've got our straight line here coming down. Then I'm going to put a little circle in when I get down here because the nostrils are going to be a little circle. We're going to do that in the chalk. And I'm going to have a little line that curves up, bows out, and that's all we have to do. And that's going to come up to the end of the canvas. So that's the next part that I've got going here. Here's my chalk. So come down here, and my circle is going to be about 5.5 to 6 inches across. So I'll make a little mark there just to say, okay, I know I need to have it be this big. I'm going to make this circle. Check your circle. Is it big enough? You're going to need this circle to be at least 5 inches to 5.5 inches big. The horse's nose is going to be one of those important things for you to do, but if you can just throw away the idea that it's a nose and just go, it's just a circle. I can handle a circle. It's the letter O. I can handle the letter O. Do whatever you have to not let your left brain, see now my left brain's so offline I can't speak. Do not let your left brain weigh in on this. If you want to have all the benefits that painting has, you got to make your left brain go away. Because all of the anti-aging benefits, all of the cognitive function benefits, all of the, your kid's going to go to college or you're going to be very vital as you go on in life, all of those are in your right brain. So what we got to do is make the left brain go away and let the right brain go. And so just say, left brain, don't worry about this. It's just a circle. Just chill out. So then, about 11 inches from the right-hand corner of the canvas is the jaw. And here's a little trick, like I just drew there. I'm going to curve up. I'm going to curve up a little bit. You may have to sketch a little. It's still pretty straight. I almost curved up too much. And then you're going to bow out. See, because this jawbone right here, that's your horse jawbone. This is this big plate jawbone. So that's that elemental thing that says this is a horse, okay? And then, here's the thing. When we sketch this out, we're going to do some interesting stuff. We're going to take the nose out to the tip, and we're going to curve it in a little bit, bow it out about that much, and we're going to make a little lip come in, another little bow, Then you gotta have this little part down here. This on a horse is super fun because this is the soft, spongy little fleshy thing. When you have horses, if you love horses, you know, do little smudgy. Oh my God, I love the smudgy. They can wrinkle it up when they want your carrot. It's wonderful. So that's gonna really give it that horse's face, horse's little nose, and the nostril, right, is more of a diamond than you might think. So if you can get that diamond in there, you're going to really be able to draw this nose out and sketch it out a little bit with your chalk. You know, so you sort of know where it's going to be when it goes in paint. You know, it may be hard for you to see here, which is why I have the drawing on the paper, okay? All right, so we're going to paint in his face. I'll bring my paint back over and we'll come back to drawing when we're going to do the eye. Woo, we almost had an interesting moment. Put our little pen there. I have, it's been a day. I want you to know it's an appropriate lateness in the afternoon. Cocoa is good. Tea is good. Coffee is good. I've had coffee. It's not helping anymore. So now we're on to this. Because it's a party, not a class. All right. So I'm going to paint in the face. I'm going to get my 1/2 inch brush. I'm going to get my brush wet. I'm going to come over to my yellow ochre. Let's make sure that that's showing up really well. I'm going to come over to my yellow ochre. I will gray it just a titch, but this time I want it to be much stronger in the yellow. And I'm going to paint along here because I got to paint in his head, and it needs to feel like a different... needs to feel different than this background. Now, again, if you want smoothness here, it's going to be very important to move along quickly enough so that the paint will blend. I'm grabbing one more paint there. Now, I'm going to follow my little line here that I sketched in. And hopefully at this point you'll be seeing it a little bit better. All right, so I've got that sketched in. Now I'm going to paint him in. Look at that. Directionality is going to matter. Look, I'm blending. See, even with this brush has a soft bristle. This brush has a soft bristle, and so it's giving me a soft edge. If I was doing a sky, that would be very important. You know, and the directionality on this, I actually do kind of keep the directionality of his nose. So the brush strokes will go down and it's on the flat. Oh, and I want to show you something. I'm going to show you something here that you're going to like. You can always keep a piece of practice paper around and see how your brush strokes are working out. So like on this brush, on the angle brush, if I go on the flat, I get a nice wide stroke. But if I go on the bottom edge, short bristles starting the stroke, long bristles finishing it, I can get this very nice line. Do you see that? How it's the short bristles? And then one of the things that you can do, if I put a lot of pressure on my brush, the line gets thick like this. But if I have very light pressure, very light, I can make much thinner lines. I can even paint on the last little bit of hair on this brush. And look how thin I can get those lines. If you need to practice with your brush on a piece of paper whenever you're doing a brush stroke, this will be really important when we move into trees. Practice these brush strokes. You can practice with any of your brushes and see how many thick, thin lines you can get. See what it's like to try to draw a circle. Because some brushes will not lend themselves to that circle. This brush kind of doesn't, you know. So it's just one of those things. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. Art... right? Art is not a mysterious gift given to some people and not others. Neuroscience right now has made it very clear that everybody has the potential to be creative. Everybody has the potential to be imaginative. And since in art, it's just a series of techniques that are learned, applied to your life experience, which is your voice, really talent isn't part of it. It's just dedication and focus and attitude. In art, attitude is everything. If you start out saying, I can do this, I've got it, I know I can, set your intention. I can paint this. I can do that. I can absolutely paint this. You're going to do a lot better than if you sit there and start out with the story like, oh my God, everybody in my family is like art talent, but I don't have any talent. And I can't even draw a stick figure, and it's so sad. And, oh, you know, seriously, it's not, if you start from, I can't even draw, you're not going to draw, you know. But if you're like, no, I'm going to open my heart a little bit, see if there's any art, you have a much better chance. In fact, I am seeing people, I'm hearing from you guys, you know, I'm very reachable. I am very reachable. I am on Facebook. I am on Pinterest. I am on Etsy. I am on Twitter. I'm sorry, I am. And pretty soon I'll be on Instagram. And you can ask me questions. You can show me what you're doing. I actually like to see it. I want to know what's going on in your lives. You know, you can share your artwork with the other people on the Heart Party Facebook page. You know, like us, subscribe. I'm going to be putting up more of this free content up all the time. You know, I am trying to make a commitment to be filming nearly every day, and the only thing that slows me down is edits. You know, because I have edits because I try to make sure that you have things like the palette cam. You know, so that takes a little bit of a minute. See how we're just making this very streaky? This is very streaky. And it's streaky because that's very artistic. And that's what we like. We like it to be artistic. I like it to be artistic. And you like it to be artistic. Oh, I wish that the sound system would let me blast music in here. If wherever you are, you can just blast yourself some music, do it. Good food, something nice to drink, you know, and music. That is awesome. You don't even know how good people in art college have it. We do have a better time than everybody else. All right, so the face is going in, and you're starting to see how that face is definitely standing out from the background. And I keep getting my white and yellow ochre and a little bit of my gray. And I'm darkening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my lower jaw down here is just darker. I want this to be darker and shaded. And it's implied shading. We're not doing like crazy shading. We're doing implied shading. But, you know, that's how I want it to be. Ooh, that's too much black. It's okay if that happens to you. You just take it off and just blend it out. Or don't paint with it. It's all good. I'll be working out some of these features on him just a little bit later. I'm painting right there in his little mouth. I'm thinking about horses. Think about horses. You know, and if you're young, I know that I've got, you know, some, whoops, hat. How's the hat? Hat's good. I know I've got some younger artists who are joining me. Let me tell you something, younger artists, and this actually applies to artists that are older than you. If you want your life to get better, be creative. Seriously. You know, being young particularly can be very difficult. And that's just a nice, easy way of putting it. But when you have creativity, if you have poetry, if you have music, and if you have painting, you can get that out. You can get what you're going through out, and you can say it in a way that people cannot ignore you. When you are a really good artist and you have something to say and you can get it up on canvas, guess what? They can't tune you out and you're going to feel better immediately. That sort of goes for us grown-ups too, because sometimes sometimes we have it hard as well. We have a difficult time of it as well. All right, you see where I got that little black in there? Right there? Not going to worry about it. I'm going to go real fast with this other paint and blend it out. If you get something happening that you don't like say you just, oh my God, I hate that. Dry it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to wait 2 days for it to dry. Just dry it with your hair dryer. Get your paint. Get the color that you had really wanted to do. Right? I wanted mine to be a little bit more gold. Go right over it. It's gone. This is something that you learn to do in art, and I talk about this with other artists. This is one of the skills in the treasure box, is you don't stress out over the little mistakes. The little mistakes are not upsetting. We're taught to just fear mistakes. No, you might do it wrong and the whole world will end. You know what? Whatever. You can do it again. You're okay. It's fine. Everything doesn't have to be perfect all the time. And that doesn't mean being a perfectionist is bad. Being a perfectionist is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. As long as you realize that when things decide not to be perfect, that you're going to be okay. That's just all you've got to remember. But being a perfectionist and having that as a goal, trying to attain, the perfect something, that's a wonderful thing. But not if you feel bad when life happens, because life will happen. And that's something you figure out in the studio. You learn it in the art studio. You know what? The reason why all the artists are talking like Bob Ross is because we're so relaxed. That's right, I censored that, yes. But you can insert what it is. And I want to say hi to the viewers that I have around the world. Hi! I am really touched at how many people from all over are picking up paintbrushes and joining me at this easel and painting. I am. I have been really surprised. I love that I've got Canadian viewers. Hey, Canada. I lived in Vancouver. You guys are awesome. You guys are fantastic. A little crazy during hockey season, and I'm not really, Tim Hortons. I still like me some Starbucks, but I'm American. You have to forgive me. You got to forgive me. But I love being up there. I thought your whole tolerance of bears was hysterical. Oh, well, the bears just raid the trash. What? The bears raid the what? Apparently the bears just raid the trash, and you live in the bears area, and the bears are going to come get your trash, and you just have to lock it, because that's how it is. And I am really excited that I have viewers in Russia. I have a lot of friends from the former Soviet Republic. I love you guys, and you make fantastic artists. So determined. Just really determined. And so it's going to work out. You guys are going to get it. My experience, you guys are going to get it. And I just love that you're tuning in and you're watching. That's just fantastic. Thank you for the rocketry. That's right, a lot of people don't know that, but that's a lot of the space program and rocketry comes out of there. It's just awesome. And then have some viewers in Algeria, which surprised me. Algeria, wow, hi! It's just too cool. All you guys, go check out the Grateful Chicks and their stuff. If you're into gratitude, they're on Etsy. They ship all around the world. Very cool stuff. All right. So I painted that in. You should have something that looks somewhat like this, somewhat like this. Now, if you have a lot of chalk showing, you can go back and you can take it out with like a white towel. Sometimes I'll just clean my brush and just come along here, and if my paint's dry, I'll just clean it up. And it's okay. You'll notice that your paint will lighten for a second. Don't worry about it. If you have very, very, very inexpensive paint, sometimes it will lift and you might need to let this dry overnight. So just go by like, well, you know, I got a really high-end paint, I can do this right now. Or if I was like, no, I got kind of a paint that was maybe not as forgiving of that, give it overnight in very, very light pressure, very light amount of water. And like, you can always come like I'm going to do here, and, you know, just because you're not married to anything. Right there, there you go. Just blend it out. You had a little boo-boo. Just blend it out. I'm going to have a lot of mane here, so that's why I don't feel that worried about what's happening right here. Because I've got a lot of mane. It's going to... Okay, so we've got to put in the eye up here while we're letting this dry, and we're going to put in the nose. I'm going to put my little drawing down here. All right. So what I'm going to say is the eye is going to be about here, and it's pretty easy. I generally do this little triangle. There's a more complicated way to do a horse's eye, but if you can get this in, you're going to get the basic shape, and then they have this here. So I'm going to do that a little bit bigger for you so you can really see that. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make this triangle. Okay? And then, all right, like that. Nice little loped thing. And then we're going to just go like this. Now actually a horse's eye is a little different than this in reality, but we're doing it like this in the painting. If you want a really like super crazy with the exact pupil and all of that in the eye, get on Pinterest or get online and Google it. Google horse's eye, because you can't paint what you can't see. If you have a large internal vocabulary for it, you can paint it, but if you haven't been painting a lot of horses, then just try to like imagine what a horse's eye looks like. You're going to get some crazy cat eye or something. Look at it and do it, or do it this way. We're going to get a really gorgeous eye out of it, you know? So we want it like that. We know that our nostril, right? It's going to be like this diamond shape, and that the mouth is going to go down like that. For those of you who want to be more accurate, we're going to have that. And then we're going to have this. Always use sound effects when drawing. Very expressive mane going on. So that is the basic gist of what we have happening for the horse. Paint is back. Woohoo! Paint is back. All right. How you can tell that your painting is dry, besides touching it, but if you have a lot of detail and you don't want to touch, it won't be shiny. So, you know, it won't be shiny. Feel free to post this up on your social networks. I want you to be brave, because here's what's going to happen when you share your artwork. All of my students that share their artwork get the same experience. They discover people value their creativity. If you need a little kick me up to your self-worth, share what's in your heart. People get it. They're nice about it. It's amazing what happens, the beautiful response that comes back. And share with me. I'm here. My whole thing is encouraging you to come in and be creative. I want you to open your heart and access your art. Share your paintings with me. If you have questions, I'll help you solve your problems. Most of what I do is help you feel better about what you did. The hardest thing that you have to do as artists, the most difficult thing that you have to do is back off yourselves, okay? Man, you guys find one little mistake in what is an otherwise very impressive painting and just beat yourself around the head and shoulders with it. Stop. Stop. Focus on what you did right. If it's hard to see, I'll help you see it. Put it on my Facebook page. You know, comment, talk to me. I'm here. But your big work is to go, what did I do right? Okay? And for my little brushes, this is even harder for you guys. What did you do right? Everybody's so happy about telling you what you did wrong. What did you do right? What did you get right? Because every time you do this, every time you come back here to this amazing sacred space, it's going to get easier. It's going to get better. That's just how it works. Every time you use this side of your brain, you get better at using this side of your brain. Every time. You look at those painting a day people. I've got someone who's doing painting a week. But there are people who do painting a day. At the end of the year, let me tell you, they paint completely differently than they did at the beginning of the year. Because it never stops. The growth never stops. You never retire from being creative. This is why the Zoomers and the AARP are like, be creative. All right. I'm going to take my brush. And because I want to be relaxed about it, right, you can sketch it in with your chalk. I'm going to put it in with my gold paint. Now here's a little trick. I'm painting on the edge of my brush like I showed you earlier, giving myself a nice big eye. I'm coming around. You can do this with your little detail brush. I like my little half angle brush. I've got that in here. There's a thing I do where I rest my hand on the canvas. Now you can buy a bridge. I'm making my little diamond here on the nose, giving him a big nostril. You got to imagine this is a big animal and he needs wind. So I've got my little off-centered diamond happening there, and I like those. So I'll put this in some water. All right. I'm going to get my slightly smaller little angle brush. I'm going to get a little just black paint. Oh my God, I know it's scary as all get out. Maybe I'll add a little white to it. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put that in stronger. Come in, take it down. Happy little eye. Just think about horses. Think about the freedom of horses, the beauty of horses. What you think about helps you paint. I'm going to make my nice little ½ inch circle here. Now I've got about a ½ inch between my pupil and here to really work my eye. The water's getting a little far away from me. I'm going to bring it back over here. Watch the positioning of your stuff. I swear it's where spills happen. Woo! Studio is hot today. And I don't know why my children are so quiet. They're playing with their dad. We got Skylanders. And I don't know, that was the end of my family. We got Skylanders and I don't see them anymore. The dad and my 4-year-old and my 9-year-old and my 2-year-old all live in Skylander land. Which I guess means it's a very, very good game. So I'm just improving the lines around my eye here and putting that in stronger. Now remember, pressure is how thin or thick my line is. So if I want a very thin line, oh, play that Queen song in your head and give yourself a very, very thin line by having very, very light pressure. I'm not some crazy genius. Well, I kind of am a little bit. But this is my regular painting, you know. You want to just, I'm going to come along here and I'm going to follow along his little lip and curve down his little mouth. I'm going to define this along here. Come up with this like nice long line here. And then I'm going to thicken that right along the jawline. And a lot of the canvas is showing through and I don't like that, so I'm going to get some more paint. I'm going to come here. Woo! So fun. And do this. Okay. Thick and thin lines. A lot of art is just knowing when to have thick and thin lines. And listen, if you guys do a lot of these, you know, my goal is to have you guys start painting on vacation, to start free painting, to have you guys do some of the other more complicated, awesome free tutorials there are out there. So, you know, hang in with me. Give it a try. You can do it. I really haven't run into anyone that I was like, dude, they can't paint. This is not going to happen. You know, these painting parties have just changed everything. People are figuring out they can create stuff. They can create stuff. And I think life should just be a personal painting party. All the time. All right. So you sipped your tea, your cocoa, your coffee, or your whatever. And we got to make this all sort of expressive and interesting. And how I do that, where is my battered brush? His battered brush. Oh. So the best way to get one of these, if you have children, is to let them paint with your brush, and it will just come out like this. Sometimes over time, if you're really scrumbling, which is sort of that scratching into the canvas, a particular brush, it will break the heel and do this. If you rinse your brushes wrong, it will do this. But what you want is sort of a battered, fluffy, messed up brush. If not, you can just get a stiffer bristle brush also to get this effect. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to dip into my ochre, okay? And I'm going to come and I'm going to be very expressive. And I'm going to go multi-directional because I'm almost like, have you seen your kids scribble? Now we're scribbling. Now we're scribbling. We're going to scribble around the face a little bit with just some of this ochre. And the reason we're going to do that is the expressionist, free-spirited feeling of this piece. You want to do that. You want a free-spirited feeling of the piece. And the only way you can get that is a little bit of scribbling. I even like to get a little black and a little white, but get it strong gray, right? And come up here. Scribble. Have fun scribbling. When do you get to scribble? Right? When is scribbling allowed? Hardly ever. Checkbook writing, they don't let you scribble. Math homework, they don't let you scribble. Kids still get to scribble, but that's discouraged fairly quickly, isn't it? To all you good art teachers out there in the school systems around the world, to all you art facilitators, gosh, thank you. You make the world a better place. Creative people, world needs them. So thank you. If you're becoming one of the creative people, I want to thank you. I'm going to make this part of the eye thicker right here. You see that? Where I'm thickening that up. I want to just be sort of expressive. I'm going to get a little more crazy with this one. I want it to be more free-spirited and animated. So when you have a piece that's maybe not like obviously in motion from something, if you get really crazy with your brush strokes, you can get some craziness going in your piece. Now I'm going to rinse my brush out because I had black on it. Everything's drying very quickly on here. And I'm going to get some okay, apparently I'm going to get some more black. I'm going to rinse my brush out. Yeah, I'm fine. Are you having a good time? Keep going. You can do this. So listen, here's the deal. This horse does not look like that horse. This horse does not look like that horse. Your horse will not look like that horse yet. This is an underpainting. Everybody gives up on the underpainting stage when they're by themselves. It's the only thing I worry about when I'm teaching online, that I'm not with you guys and I'm not in the room with you, which is why I'm always like, talk to me if you need help, is because people give up at the underpainting stage. Every painting has an underpainting. Thomas Kincaid has a tutorial on YouTube. Man was a genius. Look at it. It had an underpainting stage. It had a full-on ugly stage. Okay? It's just part of the process. Part of the process, guys. So get your white paint, tap it, tap it, tap it. How I'm getting this is there's very little paint on my brush. If I have to, I can tap it on my paper towel. There's very little water on my brush. And what that is doing is that's doing the dry brush. It's the opposite of how we blend. Okay? It is the opposite of how we blend. Opposite of how we blend. Oh, that's just looking very expressive. Now I'm going to get some red. Some red. This is really fun. I'm going to come right under the eye with this incredibly intense red. Oh my gosh, that's intense, right? Have fun with it. Do not freak out. Do not panic. Remember, if it weirds you out, first, do a gut check. Is it really okay and you're just freaking out? Second, if you're really sure that you've made a mistake, hair dry it, paint it out, start over. Now sit there and battle the thing. I'm going to grab a little red and I'm going to grab a little gold at the same time. And I'm going to come into my nose here. I'm going to start putting in some of this. It's not the full red. I'm going to come back with the full red a little bit later when this dries. I just want some of this kind of in there. And I might grab some more strong gold and come in and just blend this. And I'm just doing it with my fluffy brush because I want it to be sort of like that in there. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Maybe I'll put this somewhere on a horse. Ooh, I like that. All right. Now, that brush can cool its jets in some water for a second. How you doing? Are you still with me? I really want you guys to hang out. I want to see what you're doing. Show me what you're doing. Okay. So now you have this beautiful horse head. And we get to do the mane for a little bit. The mane is like the most fun. You're going to take your 1/2 inch brush or your inch brush. And you're going to start out with your ochre. And you're going to use a little bit more water in the mix. You're going to want to kind of, you can see me doing this here. I'm thinning it a little bit with water. You can thin it up to about 30% and have it still have good paint integrity. The cheaper the paint is, the less water it will put up with. So you just know that about it. And now I've got a nice sort of fluid consistency. I'm gonna short bristles first, long bristles last. I'm gonna come up here above the eye, on the edge, and go swoop. Swoop. Now listen, just like with us ladies, it is all about the hair. Give your fabulous horse some fabulous hair. Shoo, shoo. Right? You can do it. You can do it. Give your fabulous horse some fabulous hair. See that? Now, you just keep painting this. Now we're going to come around here. I'm going to actually add a little more above the eye. And then I'm going to start this paint. So it starts curving like this. How I get these tapered bottoms, right? I'll show you real quick on the paper here. Pressure is the hardest at the top, and then as I finish the stroke, I lighten the pressure. And I let the long taper of the bristles finish the brush stroke, and that's how you're getting that. That's all that takes to get that. I feel like I need a little more ochre, so I'm going to put some more ochre on there. If you're interested, I am using Matisse paints today. You could use any acrylic paint. I had one fabulous creative mom do the Crayola paints with her daughter on one of my paintings, and it actually came out fairly well, so that apparently also works. You know, it's just art. So just really what you want here is just, oh, freedom of expression. This painting is, I love my life. I'm free. I'm powerful. I can do this. Everything, you know, is wonderful. I'm celebrating all of everything about me and what's going on with me. So this is our first layer of paint. And here's something that you want to do. You want to make sure you have enough paint. One of the things that gets everybody the most, I'm going to add a little more to my bridge of my nose. Watch this. So I saw something that I wanted to change. So I'm going to come up here. I just wanted a little more nose here. That's how I'm doing it. That was just white and yellow. I just come in. See, a lot of times you'll see something, you'll be like, I want that to be different. Just make it different. Just make it different. That's all you have to do. You don't have to have a heart attack over it. Just be like, I feel like this nose is not quite the shape that I'm looking for, and I want to change it. So just change it. If you got it too small, you can always make it bigger. If you got it too big, you can take the background in and trim it. You can plastic surgeon your painting. All right, so now I'm gonna switch to my brown. So here I am, thinning it with water a little bit. My burnt sienna, just the pure pigment. See, you can really see how I'm lightening the brush stroke right here, lightening it. If ever you're worried about accomplishing a brush stroke, practice. If for some reason, a horse is a very important thing to draw for you, horses are very important to draw for me, practice drawing the horse. Do it again and again and again. It takes about 5 times doing it all the way through. If you want to suddenly be able to draw it and you're having trouble drawing it, the inclination is to start to draw it, see that you're making a mistake, and throw it away, especially with people in their youth. If you're a young person, if you're a kid, your inclination is to see you made a mistake because you guys always catch it really early. You have such good inner vision. Don't throw it away. Finish it. The way that your artist brain develops is that you struggle through that uncomfortable feeling and finish it. Then the neurons will hook up, and the next time you go to draw it, the skill set will be there. That's literally how you get it. So it's very important to you to get this horse. Do it a couple times. That is literally the trick. To go from not being able to draw to being able to draw is repetition. Which is why a lot of people think that they can't when they could have. Because it's uncomfortable and it's not fun to make mistakes. Because nobody's allowed to just make a mistake and have that be okay. So they stop before it was going to work out. A lot of what I say when I'm talking to you about your artwork, I'm not going to criticize it because, dude, you already know what you did wrong. I'm going to sit there and help you see what you did right. I might give you some suggestions on how to fix it. But a lot of what I say is because I can see how close you are to the big breakthrough. And every artist, for their journey, has a big breakthrough. No, we don't all have the same ability. I mean, obviously there are people who can play music and then there's some people who can really do that. But we all have a right to sing at the campfire. You don't have to be on Idol to enjoy singing. Sometimes it's just fun to sing at the campfire. What if we weren't allowed to sing at all? If we weren't incredibly talented? Well, I would not been allowed to sing. You know, there would have been all the joy of s'mores gone. So see, I'm really being very expressive with this mane. I had a pony when I was a kid named Whiskey. And he was a buckskin paint which means he was a pinto with 3 colors. So he would have been a buckskin, but he was a pinto. He was 13 hands high, of pure unadulterated evil, but adorable and awesome in every way, though smart. Smart. He used to chase people off the property. He used to steal stuff from them and then chase them with it. It was fantastic. And this is a little bit inspired by him. This is a little bit my whiskey painting. Because I know wherever he is, he's running free and he's fat. And he's eating oats and having a good time. Because he was a free spirit, that one. Not a sweet Misty Chincoteague, though. No. No. No, he used to torture the other horses on the property, too. And steal their food. All right. Red. Get some red. Swirl your water around. Get some red. You know, we're going to do the mane real quick, and then we'll add a little bit to our nose after we get the mane in. Woo! Now I've got this cadmium red, which is why it's just such an intense color. The vibrancy on a cad red is just terrific. If you had 3 other slightly different colors, this painting, because it's neutral, will come out. You don't have to worry about it. It's just going to come out. But what I'm using to get this bright pop is cad. Cadmium red. Now here where the hair is sort of loose and flyaway, I don't mind so much if some of the canvas, now that it's all painted, is showing through. Doesn't bother me too much. Make sure I have the red up here. It's got a lot of power because I want really a lot of that. So it really pops. And then I'm going to wipe off my brush, get a little bit of the moisture off, and then come back here. I'm going to add some just red to this nose. There we go. So just strengthen it up. I'm going to have to come back in with a little nostril. It depends on how I feel about it. And I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to rinse it out. I'm going to rinse it out. And I'm going to say, I'm going to get my paper towel. I'm going to need a new roll of paper towels. I'm going to get my paper towel. And for rinsing off my brushes, what are you thinking? It's kind of looking like, it's kind of, ooh. You know it. All right. So hopefully you're like, oh, I love it. I didn't know I could paint. Well, that's what I'm hoping for. That's my goal. Now I'm going to get my black. Just my black. I'm going to thin it. Black can be gummy. I'm going to have to ask my friend Daniel why black can be gummy, but black can be gummy. All right, I'm putting in the black hairs now. Give your horse a good mane. Power is in the mane. If this were Bucephalus, ooh, kids, Google that. Bucephalus. Alexander's horse. Alexander the Great's horse, Bucephalus. Notorious, famous, fictional, but awesome horse. Kind of like Hidalgo. So you're learning things. So, nobody could ride Bucephalus. Alexander snuck in and rode him, and then he jumped out of the Colosseum because horses do that in history. But you look him up, you know, turn this painting in, get some extra credit. I won't tell. I will not tell. All I want for you guys is just for you to have fun. Just enjoy yourselves. He's enjoying himself. You should enjoy yourself too. Just relax about this stuff. All right, I'm pretty happy with it, except right here where I want to just break up this line. All right. See that? It's kind of lovely. So what's interesting is like after this leaves here, I just throw it up on Etsy. That's where it goes. Because these braid like tribbles in my house. The eye. The eye. Now I'm going to get my detail brush that I had earlier. And I'm going to get a little bit of my ochre. I'm going to have it, it's already been a little bit thin with water. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to paint my ochre in the space. Right here. Can you see? Painting that in right there. Notice how I'm still holding my brush right like this. Just like that, resting there. If you have trouble holding your brushes, young pinchers, pinchers, robot pinchers. That's how I get my son to do it. I told him it's like he's got a robot claw. It has to pinch the tool to use it, and then all of a sudden he could use it. It was very helpful. All right, so we have that in there. Okay. I'm going to come in with a little more black, interestingly enough, and I'm going to take my detail brush. And strengthen up some of this black around here. Trick to this is if you don't have a lot of hand and arm control, let your canvas dry, rest your wrist against the canvas. See? That's sharp. I might come down here and give my nose a little bit of that there. I like that. A little scribbly. Rinsing my brush out. I'm going to get a little bit of my brown. My burnt sienna. My burnt sienna. I'm going to come here. I'm going to let the gold peek out around the sienna. Like that. Later we'll have like a real detailed, crazy eye detail, high detail eye class. Right now our stuff is beginning stuff, but I will keep adding content. And after we have a certain number of paintings, I'm thinking like 20 or 30 of the beginner paintings, I'll start putting some advanced and intermediate tutorials up to that all of these skills build towards for you to be doing more and more complicated pieces. Now you can take a little bit of your white and I'm going to just run along the edge here. Very thin little line. Yeah, very dramatic. And here is the trick. Right there, we're about to come to the end of this. I'm going to get my brush and I'm going to do a little dot. Another little dot for the reflection. And that is Spirit. Your fabulously easy and fun to do, stylish urban horse painting. Now, I want you to be grateful. I want you to check out the Grateful Chicks. I would love for you to subscribe, comment, and share. Go to my Facebook page, find me somewhere, find me on Twitter. There's links everywhere on my YouTube page to go there, so you don't even have to, be writing anything down. Definitely go check out the Grateful Chicks, and I want you to be grateful this week and really show off this. Show off this painting. Then I want you to come back and meet me at this easel really soon, wearing your best funny hat, because that's what we're doing now. Open your hearts, and I'm going to see you soon. This easel. Bye-bye.
Everybody paints and forget their feet.
I just want a bright, shiny apple to eat this all we want. Can't we have a bright, shiny apple?